A high body count for women is not a good thing. That's what they say, right? High body count, not good, not good. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. But I will tell you one thing. Why are you telling them your body count? Are you in an interrogation? What's happening? What's happening that you're so liberal with your life and your past? Have some mystery, have some mystique, baby. If you choose to go on the train of sleeping with every man and then you regret it, just don't tell anyone. You don't have to. No one will know. Okay? Now, probably a better solution is to be more decisive with who you sleep with. I agree with that. If you watch my channel, you will know that. Because we don't let anybody in. We don't just let anybody in. I'm very big on that. But if we've made that mistake, who's asking you? Who is asking you? You don't always have to be honest.
They say the past doesn't matter, but it's exactly because of their past that so many men no longer want commitment. Today, you'll see women proving, without even realizing it, that the biggest enemy of modern relationships is their own history.
Don't tell a man about your past. Even if they ask and you lie, even Islamically, that is okay. Because your past is none of their business, especially when it doesn't affect the future. And even in Islam, Allah hates those that expose their sins. You know why? Because Allah covered it up for you. Allah didn't expose you. And then you go and expose yourself. And let me explain. People do not forget. Even if they forgive you, they will not forget. And there will come a day, especially for a man, where he holds it against you. That's why you're allowed not to talk about your past. And that is actually not lying. That is none of your business. You shouldn't be asking about her past. As long as you love who she is today, and she is a good person today, and nothing of her past will come up in the future and affect it, then it's none of your business.
My boyfriend and I have been dating for 4 months. Recently, I told him a few things about my past because he said it was important to him. He wanted to know my body count, if I had sex with anyone before we got serious, and a couple of more intimate details. He broke up with me for my responses.
How is he going to be like, I want you to open up to me?
And then I'm going to use that against you.
I'm going to use it against you and get rid of you. Maybe he was just looking for an excuse just to get out of that relationship.
Right.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
My thing about
which is also a fucking
body
cop-out.
count is who has that conversation about body count? In none of my relationships has anyone ever been like, what's your body count? It's really important that I know.
I don't want to know.
Well,
I
that's my
don't
point.
want to know.
I've never
Don't tell
asked
me.
you.
Don't tell me.
Because I don't want to know.
Just curious, like, how many dicks have you inserted in you? You know, like, why the fuck would you want to know that? This is going to make me feel better.
I think it's what you said, though, where that guy was probably just looking for an out, an excuse.
This woman doesn't understand that a man's trust is built on truth and on his partner's past. When a man asks about her history, he's not trying to control or judge her. He's trying to see if she's lived in a way that shows responsibility, self-control, and self-respect. Her reaction shows emotional immaturity and an inability to grasp the role of transparency in a relationship. By turning an honest question into an offense, she exposes that there's something she'd rather hide. The man didn't use her honesty against her. He simply realized the woman he thought she was didn't match the one standing in front of him.
I feel like if you're dating someone, like, the past shouldn't matter.
So let me ask you a question, just a quick question. If a man has a history of domestic violence, does his past matter?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
But I'm saying, like, I wouldn't go digging into his, like, ex-relationships, like,
Wait, I'm sorry.
girlfriend.
If you were told by a friend of yours that a man you were dating had a history of domestic violence, you wouldn't go digging? Really?
I actually got told a lot about my current boyfriend. Like, people came up to me and were telling me things about him when we went out. And from seeing his character, like, I knew that was just bullshit.
Okay, you didn't go poking around, though?
I didn't need to, because I didn't care about what was happening previously.
What if you were told that he had a history of kid diddling? Would you go poking around then, since you have a daughter at home?
I use my discernment on first person
your
that ever met my
discernment? What are you
daughter.
talking- do you think that they're just going to announce themselves and all their creepy vibes are just going to come out at
No.
once? Okay, well, let me just ask this very simply then. Would you allow somebody who had ever diddled a kid around your daughter?
Obviously not.
Well, then I guess their history matters, doesn't it?
She represents the typical modern moral relativism. The past only matters when it's convenient. She says a history of violence would be relevant, yet ignores other past behaviors like promiscuity, infidelity, or lack of character, which also shape a person. The contradiction is obvious. She wants a good man, but refuses to evaluate what his past reveals about who he is. That shows naivety and denial of reality. A woman who doesn't value what can be learned from someone's past can't build something solid, because she lives in the illusion that the present erases everything that came before.
If a guy asks me my body count, I never speak to him again. If you're a person whose brain just went, oh, that's because she has a high body count, I want you to listen to this. When a man asks me my body count, it is for one purpose. I want to make a judgment about your character based on your body count. They will try to say things like, oh, well, I'll tell you my body count too, or I just want to get to know you better, and like, I promise I won't judge. I really have an open mind. It doesn't matter to me. So first of all, it's not the same thing for a man to tell you his body count and for you to tell yours to him. Because we all know that men's body count will never affect the way that people view him or his worth in society or to himself. Secondly, when he assures you that he doesn't care and it really doesn't matter to him, I can promise you he's lying from the fact alone that he asked you the question. A man who doesn't care about your body count won't ask you about it because it truly doesn't matter to him. And lastly, if he's telling you that this is a way for him to get to know you better, that's because he thinks that your body count says something about you as a person. If a man cares about your body count, if a man asks you what your body count is, this is a number one red flag that this is a deeply insecure man, and you need to run. You need to head for the hills as fast as you can. You're one of the people I was talking about in the beginning who thinks that because I refuse to talk about my body count, that means that I must have a really high body count. You are the deeply insecure person that I'm referring to. You assume that I don't want to talk about it because I have a high body count, and you are saying that that's a shameful thing, and that's why I don't want to talk about it. Someone's body count is not a shameful thing. It's literally their private health information. If a woman would like to share that information with anybody, whether it be a partner or their mother or their friend or whoever, then they will share that information when they feel comfortable. You don't need to ask them. Pretty much any woman can tell you that this is a loaded question from the start. If a man asks you your body count and you tell him, one of two things will happen. The number that you tell him either will or won't fit into his societal expectation of what is the correct number or what's an appropriate number. If your number is higher than what he had in his head, he will then start to resent you and judge you and think differently of you and lower of you. But on the other side, if your number is at or lower what he deems societally okay for a lady, he will say that you're lying. Because let me say it again, if he's asking you about your body count, it's because he's a deeply insecure man.
Here we see the classic defensive speech, turning discomfort into virtue. She claims that only insecure men ask about body count, but what she's really doing is trying to avoid being evaluated. The truth is simple. A woman's body reflects her moral choices. It's not about the number, it's about the meaning. How a woman treats her sexuality shows how much she understands commitment, loyalty, and self-respect. What she doesn't see is that her sexual past leaves marks, not only physical, but emotional, and those marks inevitably affect her ability to bond with a man in a real way.
Body count does not matter. I know that men are going to be in uproar, and I will be honest and say this is a very mature conversation, so there's a lot of men that are not going to be able to understand this. Men are so enamored with the idea of a low body count that they don't realize how little impact or effect it has on a long-term relationship. Most men will do their due diligence on a woman they're dating through the form of a CRB check. which is basically just code for asking around about her. The information they will get back will be related to who and how many she has slept with and baby fathers, if they exist, and who they might be. Unless she's done something truly psychotic, which the reality is most women haven't. And men will take that information and use it to make a decision on whether this woman is worthy of the commitment. Baby, that's dumb. Okay? And I'm not saying have a high body count. I very much believe your body is a temple and it should be valued and only accessible to people who respect you. However, I digress. The only thing a body count tells you about a woman is how many has entered her. So being a woman, I know that the body count number that women give that's acceptable kind of nowadays is 5. Men also, come on, be for real. Most women who say they've slept with 5 people have not slept with 5 people. Let's talk about it. But more importantly, B, there are women who have slept with 5, 10, 15 men who will be better partners than virgins or than people who have slept with 1 or 2 men. That's the real truth about it. A low body count does not mean a woman is not rude. It does not mean a woman is not disrespectful. It does not mean that the woman is not just going to be sitting there with her hand out. It does not mean that she cares about you. Let me be honest, there are a lot of women who don't care if you live or die as long as you pay the bills. Knowing how many men she slept with doesn't expose you to any of that information. And the thing about picking up women with low body counts, again, nothing wrong with having a low body count. I even encourage it. But the thing about it is a lot of them, you meet them where you find them. And a lack of experience means that the mindset that they have is pretty much the mindset that they're going to go with for the rest of their life. So if her mindset is not in the right place, that is what you're stuck with. Now, yes, we don't like experienced women because there is a negativity attached with experience. But if we're really being honest, there's also a lot of positivity that can be gained from experience. You've made mistakes and you've learnt from them. You've experienced it in situations and you think, no, not the best way to do it. I'll do it this way going forward. There's a lot of self-development that can come from experience. And let me tell you something. If a lot of men are real, and I would love to see if there's some real men up in here, a lot of men that prioritize virtue and virginity will tell you that they picked wrong because they used the wrong criteria. Because men give so much weight to this body count that when you're in a relationship, doesn't really affect the day-to-day life of your relationship. You can be a virgin and be rude. You can be a virgin and be disrespectful. You can be not caring. You can not be a great mother. Now, of course, you can be these things also if you have a high body count. But I'm just saying, these things are not determined by body count. And a lot of men underestimate women in the sense that they think they're the only ones that can manipulate and trick. Just as a man can present a persona to get you in the bed, he can pretend to really like you and want you for days, weeks, even months sometimes. He can do that because he wants the box. However, the thing about getting the box is it is a sprint. It's something that you want to get quickly. So the race is very quick. Now, if you understand that society pre-programs women to want and desire marriage, marriage is a long-term thing. You have to date. You have to be boyfriend and girlfriend. You have to engage. Then you get married. There are a lot of women who can and do present as one thing and then turn into a completely different person when they are married. And a lot of men have fallen for that. There are a lot of men who are, if they're honest, they will tell you that their criteria for choosing a long-term partner that was based on virtue, they would change it if they had the chance. A lot of men you will find the second time around, maybe if they're getting married the second time, or if they're coming out of a long-term relationship and looking for a new person, they definitely do not prioritize virtue as highly. That is the truth. I'm not going to lie. There are a lot of men who are divorcees who are with what society will call hoes and living their best life. Okay? Spoiled, pampered, loved, taken care of. Now, that's not to say a woman with a low body count or a virgin can't be just as nice and just as sweet. It's just to let you know that this is not dependent on body count. And I think it's important to talk about because it's not just women who make mistakes in picking the wrong life partners for the wrong reasons. Men also do it, but usually don't speak up about it. So men, yes, while I know body count is important to you, virtue, all that good stuff, it's not the end all and be all. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Bar your ego, it doesn't really affect much. In fact, let me just go to it. A lot of men, you're really eager to pick these good girls. And the reality is you like the good girls for the image, but when it's time to build a life with this person, you don't like them. They're boring. You don't have anything in common. There's no connection. So your marriage or your relationship is miserable. I don't want a girl because she smokes. You smoke, bro! Like every day I see men upset, stressed, angry because the person they're with, they don't have anything in common with. They don't like the way she looks. They don't find her sexy. The type of girls they like and the girl that they're with look nothing alike. The things they like to do, the music they like to listen to, that girl doesn't like or doesn't allow. Oh, what kind of voluntary suffering is this? Learn, men, to start picking with sense. And I'm not saying go after girls with high body counts or go after girls with low body counts. What I'm saying is look at the full picture. And body count is not the full picture. And I know there's going to be one witty guy that's going to go in the comments and talk about my body count. I'm happy to say it's not for free. And ladies, this is why I say stop sleeping with these men also, because they will turn around and try and use sex against you. But anyway, like I always say, there's always an exception to the rule. For best results, assume it's not you.
Although she speaks eloquently, she rationalizes her mistakes. She argues that experience brings wisdom, but deep down, she's justifying her past. Her speech mixes a few good points, like the idea of learning from experience, with the usual attempt to downplay personal responsibility. The truth is, experience is not the same as virtue. What she calls growth often comes from poor choices. And when a woman normalizes that, a traditional man sees it clearly. She's not seeking redemption, only validation. And where there's no remorse, there's no transformation, only repetition.